So season 2 of The Punisher has recently come out.
Yes.
What is your favourite moment?
In the first episode where John Barenthal just barks at someone because he's so angry. He just anger barks. Few Marvel characters can ever truly claim to give us few fucks as the Punisher, a character who spent virtually his entire comic history executing criminals with pinpoint accurate shots to the balls. As it so happens, according to the comics, the Punisher spends a considerable amount of his time cultivating this exact reputation almost purely to scare the shit out of criminals.
This is a universe that has hundreds of heroes
Yes.
and dangerous people.
Yes.
Why is the Punisher so scary?
Because he just fucking murders you. Like, his whole raison d'etre is, I'm just going to shoot you. So I'm not going to beat you up real bad. I'm not going to send you to prison. You will just be dead. And unless you're like an X-Man, in the Marvel comics, you don't fucking come back when you die. If you're like Nameless Goon number 3, you ain't got a fucking chance.
I'm pretty sure there isn't a single hero who hasn't just come back to life at least once.
No, I think there's a joke in one X-Man comic where someone dies and like their daughter goes, it's okay, he's an X-Man, he'll come back. They always do. And they acknowledge the fact that it's such like a recurring thing that X-Men just die all the fucking time. I think Wolverine's already back. I think, if I remember correctly, because they killed him off a couple of years ago and said, the end of Wolverine. And to kill him off, they like embed him in like molten adamantium. So he's like completely sealed in this indestructible metal. And I think he came back. It's fucking brilliant, because like, they just like encase him in adamant. Like, he's fucking dead. It's like, no, he's back. So we got a bit off topic there, but I think I can sum up why the Punisher's so scary by saying he's Marvel's answer to John Wick. And you know, like in the film where everyone who hears John Wick's name just absolutely shits themselves, based purely on the fact he's got his mythical reputation for just murdering the fuck out of everybody. And there's that amazing scene where he goes like, Aurelio, why did you punch my son? It's like, oh, he stole John Wick's car. And he goes, oh, okay then.
Because you stole John Wick's car, sir.
Oh. It's like perfectly understandable reaction. And that's what he's like with the Punisher. Like people hear his name and just go, well, fuck me, I'm dead. Frank Castle does not fuck around. Like in the TV show, he just shoots everybody. Yeah. But in the comics, he gets really creative with how he murders people. I think in one, he punches a polar bear. Because like, he says, all right, I'm going to murder this person by getting them mauled by a polar bear. But the polar bear's like really docile and he goes, this won't do. So he just socks the polar bear in the mouth and runs away. And someone runs in and gets mauled to death by the polar bear and gets all the limbs torn off. And I think there's another story where he just throws someone against a window for like an hour. He says, eventually this window's going to break and you're going to fall to your death. But until then, I'm just going to throw you against it. It's like, okay, Punisher. Despite being a mere mortal in a world of literal gods and people who can level buildings with their eyeballs, the Punisher still manages to hold his own through sheer grit and determination.
Yeah, I've watched the TV show and you just can't stop him. He's like a machine.
Yeah, like he powers through getting a power drill put through his foot just through sheer man. Like he just mans his way through just by screaming as loud as possible.
Where would you like it? Here?
And like that's true to the comics where basically like Frank does not give up. Like you can do anything to him and he's just gonna keep coming. And that's one of the reasons he's so terrifying. Because like people say he's a mortal man, he's just a dude, but he spends so much time planning how to murder people. Like that's his sole goal. He doesn't have any hobbies. I think if you go to like the Marvel wiki page for him and say Frank has no hobbies, all he does is train and plan his next murder. All he does is train and clean his weapons and just sit in his house thinking, how do I murder someone just that little bit harder? And that's why he's so fucking terrifying. But like I love that idea in like that concept in fiction of just like surviving a mortal blow just through sheer like will and determination. The best example of that, obviously, I'm using the word determination, is Undertale.
Right.
And have you played that game?
I haven't.
Right, basically there's a constant thing called determination, and every time you save the game it says it fills you with determination. And I'm not sure like the actual lore behind it is, but basically it's just this like thing that you have that allows you to survive death just like through sheer determination. There's one other character in that game who has it, and it's Undyne. And if you go do the evil playthrough and kill every single monster in the game, when you fight her, you kill her in one hit, and she goes down to her knees and goes, you know what? Fuck you. And through sheer determination, just explodes this like radiant sex energy everywhere and just fights shit. And she's the hardest fight in the game up to that point. And they play this fucking awesome soundtrack and it says, the wind is howling. It's like, oh, she just powers through death itself. And then she explodes because she's so determined. She has so much determination. Just explodes out. It's fucking brilliant. And then if you play like the good playthrough, she's just like this nice fish lady who wears a leather jacket and a ponytail. I get fucking
Contrast.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You do the good playthrough, you go on a date with her, and she like cooks like pasta with fire magic. And then if you play the evil playthrough, no, she's like the biggest badass in the world.
So Frank Castle, TV show Frank Castle, has been through a lot of shit.
Oh yeah.
But I assume, seen as, comic books,
Yes.
they're much dumber.
Oh, of course, yeah, because they've been around longer. And Comic Frank is ridiculous. I think he's been beaten up by Captain America, a literal perfect human being, and he just takes the beating. He gets attacked by dogs, he gets shot, he gets stabbed, everything. Like, if you think about it, if you can think it, it's happened to Frank. And it's even noted that he performs surgery on himself without anesthesia because he doesn't want, he wants to keep his wits about him at all times. And then there's one comic where Nick Fury says about him, like, this guy is a fucking badass. He has the level of pain tolerance he has borders on being superhuman. And if Nick Fury thinks you're a badass, you're a fucking badass.
So is the Punisher like Kick-Ass? Has he got something wrong with him where he can't feel pain as much?
No, he feels pain just like any ordinary person. And you'd think, in that case, that he would, avoid pain whenever possible. Especially considering in one comic they note he doesn't even take painkillers. He doesn't even take aspirin because it would result in an unacceptable dulling of his reflexes. And you think, oh yeah, well, he's going to avoid pain whenever possible. But no, Frank will actually, allow criminals to punch him and stab him. And I think in one comic, he even tanks an explosion to the face just so he can pull out a piece of shrapnel that gets stuck in his body to use as a knife. Imagine the stories that get told in the underworld about this. It's like the John Wick example again, like he kills someone with a fucking pencil. Like that story, you hear that and you go, that's never real. No, I saw it. Like, imagine the stories like, oh yeah, I saw the Punisher last week, a landmine went off in his face and he pulled out a piece of burning hot shrapnel and stabbed a guy with it. Amazingly, the comics note that the Punisher is well aware that this particular aspect of his personality makes him fucking terrifying to fight against, and he dedicates a large amount of his time to making sure that he can take anything the criminals throw at him. So the Punisher has this brutal training regimen where he just lets himself get hit by things so that when the criminals do it, he can pretend it doesn't hurt. And he goes to the point of having a friend build him a robot that does nothing but swing baseball bats at him. So he can break the baseball bat with his forearm because he knows that in a fight, if the criminal has a bat and they swing it at him, if he holds up his arm and breaks that shit with his forearm, they are gonna absolutely shit their pants. Because you would, wouldn't you? Yeah. And you can't really fault the logic of this, because imagine being in a fight with someone, you swing a baseball bat at them, and they break it against their forearm, don't even wince and just go, what else you got? It's like that moment in Terminator 3, that woman just shoots Arnold Schwarzenegger in the face, and he spits the bullet out and goes, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Oh my god.
That's something they do in every Terminator film, though. That's how they establish these things cannot be stopped.
Yeah, and I think my favourite has got to be the T-1000, where just Robert Patrick looks at the camera and just goes, ah, ah, ah. It's like, yeah! I always wonder why that never got turned into a GIF. Do you know the thing where Dennis Nedry in Jurassic Park, where it's like, ah, 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 why has no one made a GIF of the T-1000 doing that with the soundbite? You know what? You can do that. Get the soundbite from Jurassic Park of that Dennis Nedry thing on the computer going, ah, 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 you didn't say the magic word, and put it over the T-1000 doing that. That shit's the best.
Ah, 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 you didn't say the magic word.
So getting back to the Punisher.
Yes.
That robot that swings bats at him, that's his training regimen.
Oh no, he does other stuff. He does calisthenics and weightlifting and stuff like that. And he also has a second robot that does nothing but punch you in the gut. And apparently it hits with the force of a heavyweight boxer. And he'll just stand in front of it for hours at a time, taking punches to the gut. So when obviously a criminal tries to do the same thing, it's like punching a brick wall with a skull painted on it.
I get the purpose of trying to make yourself look invincible.
Yes.
But it does just seem so stupid.
Oh yeah, and the Punisher himself has noted this. And he said, it's really stupid. Obviously, why would I willingly allow myself to get hurt on my own free time? But it's worth it, so the criminals never get the pleasure of seeing me in pain. Or to put it another way, the Punisher lets a robot punch you in the gut for 3 hours every single day, just so that when one criminal one time lands that lucky blow on him, they get to stand there shitting their pants in silent terror as he shakes that shit off like Broly.
So we were talking about the Terminator earlier.
Yes.
I think it's a bit unfair that Robert Patrick does not get anywhere near as much credit as Schwarzenegger does for his roles.
Yeah, because obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger's in every Terminator movie and Robert Patrick was in one. But no, he's his characterization of the T-1000 is fucking amazing, and people don't realise the effort he went to portray the T-1000. Like, if you watch the film back and just watch him when he shoots guns, he never blinks. I think there's one scene that someone isolated where he shoots like 15 bullets and he blinks once. And Robert Patrick himself went, yeah, I was really pissed off with that take and I wanted to do it again because I didn't want to blink at all. And like, if you look as well, he shoots ambidextrously. He says, well, robot doesn't, like, you know, isn't right or left-handed. It just does whatever's most efficient at that time.
Yeah.
And I love that idea as well. And then the fact as well that he sprints, but he had to learn a way of sprinting where he doesn't breathe properly. So where, you know, the iconic like T-1000 sprint.
And he keeps his face completely still.
Completely stoic as he runs, and as well, like, he turns his head before he turns his body and that sort of shit. 'Cause that's the most efficient way to move. Yeah. It's fucking brilliant. And I also love as well was that little moment where like it's one of blinking you'll miss it things, but people think it's a mistake, and he reloads a gun while flying the helicopter. But if you look, you'll see a third arm come out of his stomach. Which means that at any point during that film, the T-1000 could have become Goro. And I don't know why he didn't do that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, when Arnold Schwarzenegger's trying to fight it, imagine if it just put 14 arms, all holding a single gun, that span around. Like, just become just a wheel of death. I don't get how the TX, like, the female Terminator, is supposed to be an upgrade.
I think because she's full of weapons, I think.
But the same thing is, though, like, the T-1000 is it's so ridiculous. Like, do you remember at the end of Terminator 3, how does Arnold Schwarzenegger kill the TX?
He puts the nuclear thing.
But what does he do before that?
Smash the helicopter in there.
Yeah, but then what does he do to stop it from escaping?
Grab hold of it.
Yeah. what can you not grab onto, though?
Liquid metal.
Yes. Because there's that moment, isn't there? Like, he physically beats the TX up. But what happened in, like, Terminator 2 when he tried to punch the T-1000?
He just went through his body and then
he solid.
That's such a good shot as well, when he punches through the body and then he basically makes that into where his arms are.
Yeah, that's the T-1000 is the ultimate. I don't know why. The TX is a downgrade in my opinion. Because obviously it's got weapons, but if you can't be killed... Do you know what my favourite thing about the T-1000 is, though? It's that I think in Wayne's World, Robert Patrick reprises his role.
Have you seen this boy?
And I don't know how they got the rights to that. Because Robert Patrick just has a cameo in one of the Wayne's World movies as the T-1000. And I don't get, like, it's so random. I want that in more movies. Do you know, because obviously that means those two movies exist in the same universe. While Wayne's World's happening, that means Wayne's World is obviously like, Doomsday's going to happen.
Yeah.
Armageddon is coming to the Wayne's World universe.